ready for the last one, and then some drinks after. So we will not talk and more information. Now it will be more hands-on activity here. So of course I need your brands still. So let's use it for the last 40 minutes that we have here, 30 minutes that we have here. So this section is about the WP6, that is maximizing impacts and promoting multidisciplinary ocean observing. WP6 is the partners is the MI, myself, S Plus Atlantic, and Eurobus. So we have two tasks in this WPC, and if you remember, the first one is the dialogue and clustering with sister projects. This is why we are here, why we have the meeting with the Bio Eco Ocean. So the cluster event with Bio Eco Ocean, but not with BGOC, has been gone. And then the task two is the outreach to a broader pool of stakeholders to make OBC for clean sites actionable. And this is the deliverable. There is a deliverable that we start with our stakeholder mapping during our kickoff meeting, but also the establishment of a stakeholder reference group. And now we are in the phase of planning our outreach activities. So this session today will help me a lot to plan those outreach activities, but also will help us to collaborate with other projects in all stakeholder engagement activities you have done or you are planning to do in this project. So just briefly about the communication and the outreach objectives of this project. We stated there that this is to inform, promote, and communicate the activities and the results of this for clean to its target audience for maximizing impact and larger uptake. So if you haven't seen this deliverable, I recommend you to go to the OBC for Claim Google Drive folder, and then there is a deliverable folder there, and then you can find the deliverable 1.2, was one of the early one in the project, okay? And then I recommend all partners to read and be aware of what's inside, because there is our main audience, our main channels to communicate and disseminate our results. So when all partners is participating in the communication of this project. So you need to be aware of this. So in this document, there is a section about who are our audiences here. So there is a technical and non-technical audience. For instance, the scientific community, that will be the oceanographers, the climate prediction community, the ocean observation community, the scientists work on the Earth system models, climate modeling, but also climate services and adaptation. There is also the European international initiatives and projects, such as the sister projects, but also the European mission Restore Our Ocean Water projects, the European initiatives such as the Destination Earth, the European Digital Twin, the G2, also the MODNet, but also the Copernicus service such as the Marine and the C3S, for instance. You have the international organizations and international assessments here, all the high-level people that, for instance, Sabrina was mentioned here before, the WMO, the GBUS, the GBUS, and all the other relevant centers, for instance, ESA, among others. You have the European policymakers, Parliament and Commission services. These people are relevant members of the European Parliament, for instance, and their assistants. The European Parliament Group Advisors, the European Commission officers, and the European also Commission agencies. And then we have the people from industry. That's more people related to the blue economy sectors of the applications of all the outputs that we are going to deliver in the end of this project. So I heard people talk about aquaculture sector. I heard about fisheries, but it can be ports, transport, coastal cities, all blue sectors that could be influenced by the results of our projects. But also like ocean technology companies, people developing new glider or new URV, or even data analytics companies that are dealing with all the data we are providing here. If you remember, we have a stakeholder reference group. Because of this, we started the kickoff meeting trying to map everything that is relevant for us. A lot of people that represent the other groups above is part of the Stakeholder Reference Group as well. And then we have the general society that need to be aware of the things we are doing here. So the way that we're going to exploit and at least show, so communicate our results, those are that is inside the deliverable as well. I'm not going to read all, but just to know, for instance, the articles, peer-reviewed articles in scientific journals, for instance, use open data space, such as the European Open Science Cloud, for C4 core products and tools, training materials, participation in events, conference, webinars, surveys, social media, policy briefings, and so on. There are many of those channels and instrumentations to communicate, to disseminate our results to the audience that we think is important. So our activity today. So the aim is to understand how we can maximize the impact generated by OBC4 by delivering specific outputs, and this output here is our key exploitable results. If you remember, this is in our proposal as well. We have key exploitable results in our proposal, and we are in the phase of identifying all the results in the projects by tasks and by WPs, and also plan our outreach actions accordingly. So I think you have 30 minutes now, less. So we are going to divide you by tables, and I divided you by work packages. So WP2 will be together, WP3 and 4 will be gathered together, and WP5 you'll be alone together with people from WP5. So if you are in more than one WP in your institution, for instance, there are more than one people here, just split yourself and each one goes to one WP that you are involved with. Maybe WP3 and 4 will be a lot of people, but I think you'll be fine like this. So, very old style. You have canvas like this, not so pretty like you having this morning, but you work for sure, believe me. Fans works normally. And then we're going to fill this canvas here by considering some questions. So the first one was the main outputs, the key and tangible outputs of your work. So this question now helps to define the concrete deliverables and outputs of your work. Consider key products, reports, tools, data that will be produced. Anything that you arise from your work, for instance, to be exploitable in the end. And then there is an internal supply. We need to think, okay, from the tasks I'm doing here, the product that I'm developing here, do I need input from other project tasks? If so, can you map? Are you able to tell me from which one of the tasks you need input here? And then, of course, we need external supply. And then is the stakeholder consultation. This morning, just after this presentation, I heard a lot about stakeholder requirements here. So should I engage external stakeholders to support my tasks? If so, who should be involved? For instance, like Sabrina already told us, they are going to do a survey with an audience that they already defined. What type of consultation? In this case, is surveys. Do I plan to conduct or have already conducted? When should the engagement activity take place? This timeline is very important for stakeholder engagement and also for you to have a very good time to prepare your deliverables and your developments. And then you have the outreach actions here. So who use the outputs from your task? Who are going to use your product in the end? You'll be like a stakeholder, fisheries agents in a country. Who will be your stakeholder that in the end you're going to use your data, even as a scientific output or not? And in the end, how and where should I share my outputs? So we have all the list of channels, the tools and instruments that we can disseminate your work. And then just think, okay, I'm going to an event. So like I'm going to the Living Planet conference in June, and then I can present, and then I can have an internal meeting there with this type of stakeholders to talk about this type of information is for you. Because this is the type of information that I need to share with the other projects as well. So that's it. This is just an example of Jared's presentation yesterday. If you remember, there is a motivation, like the mustard harvest was failing for the past 2 years. There was a crisis in the important mussel industry there. So the outcome of the work was the sea surface temperature regionalizing in the Irish coast, for instance. And then in the last slide of Gerald, we have like these studies are of direct interest to stakeholders for management and understanding. But now is the time. Okay, you have the results here. Your results will be regionalizing SST, one more fine indicator. But now is the time. Okay, but who are going to use your data there? Who is the Irish agents that are going to use the data to improve the mussels management in the Irish coast? So who is going to use it? In which format they need this regionalization? Will be a data set, will be a report, where they are going to find your outputs, and how we pass the outputs on to the key stakeholders.